Hello everybody, it's Timothy here with JankDiverTim and welcome back to the channel. Today, Lost Caverns of Ixalan is officially out on Arena. We got our feet wet a little bit with early access, but we actually get to play with the rest of the Magic folks this time around. We are going to do best of 3, and the reason is I tried to record best of 1, but my draft glitched halfway in between, and I ended up with a bunch of cards I didn't even draft, and it just kind of like disappeared for the entirety of pack 1, so not a very good viewing experience. And I have that deck floating around over here, so I figured why not just take it from scratch and start with best of 3. I've only done 2 sets of matches in this set so far outside of early access, and I was doing traditional draft. I will go ahead and talk about, my findings and where I'm at with some of the things in the format as I draft. But before we click that button and spend our gems, remember, help out JankDiverTim and support JankDiverTim. And the best way to do that is just to subscribe to this channel, leave a like, come find our Discord in the links down below, and just let us know, hey, I watched your video and it either helped me or, I have this sort of feedback. You can listen to our podcast, our Cube podcast on this set. Also, links down below for that. And just knowing you're here, spending your time watching this in a endless sea of Magic content is already good enough. So, name of the game, traditional Lost Caverns of Ixalan. We will keep our sideboard in mind because it's best of 3. Let's go and spend some gems so you don't have to. And we'll see what happens. I'm still very new to the format, just like everybody else. So, I've got a couple pre-releases under my belt, a couple early access matches, which were mostly bot drafts, which only give us so much information, and a few drafts as of today when the set launched, so still very new to things. Does look like we're going to take a second to find a table, but just to kind of give everybody an idea of where I'm at on the format, it seems like blue-red artifacts is the hotness coming out on day 1. That's at least based off of what I've read on Twitter and seen in action, and blue-red actually looked pretty good, like the whole artifact/pirate deck looked pretty strong in early access. I was down on blue and green and really high on the Mardu colors, but it looks like some of the blue artifact decks might be the real deal in this format. A couple other things you need to know before we pause here to find a table. Permanents usually take precedence over non-permanents. There's things like craft and descend in this format that want you to have a healthy number of permanents in your graveyard. So we should prioritize permanents over non-permanents whenever there's a close draft pick. Second, if this is your first time seeing the set and you remember the original Ixalan, you'll probably recall that everything in that set was focused around the main factions like the merfolk, vampires, dinosaurs, so on and so forth. There's some of that here, but it's more of a backdrop. So you can craft a dinosaur deck. You can craft a pirate deck. You can't really get a merfolk deck. I think there's one card in the entire set that cares about merfolks. And you can't really get a vampire deck. Again, I think there's maybe a rare 2 cards in the set that care about vampires. So those aren't a priority unless you open a card like Breaches or a dinosaur payoff or something like that. And most of that's centered in dinosaurs and pirates. And then finally, the cave deck that I think everybody was super excited about coming in. I don't think that's a real deck. At least 5-color caves is not really a thing because it requires you to take so many of these extremely bad, uncommon cave cards really highly in order to have a chance at drafting the deck. And even then, you need people to open the good payoffs. You need them to not take the good payoffs, and you need to take high draft picks on lands that ostensibly don't do anything if the cave deck doesn't come together. So I think that's more of a textural thing. Like if you're drafting a blue-based deck, you might take a couple blue caves, and you might end up with like the sinuous Benthesaur or whatever it's called. Or if you're in black, in early access, admin Teld in JankDiverTim was able to draft a mono black deck with the gargantuan worm or whatever it's called in a couple caves, and that worked out fine. But 5-color caves, more of a pipe dream. The only way I think you're getting into actual multicolor caves is if you first pick the red sweeper. And I had planned on skipping through this part, but I had stuff to say about the format. So best of 3. Let's get in here. Let's see what we got. And we'll look back on this in 2 weeks and laugh at some of my draft picks. And of course, it's early in the format. So, last time I did this with Wilds of Eldraine, I played a couple cards and just didn't fully read them. And then people in the comments were like, that's not how that card works, or it does this and you never notice. And it's like, yeah, I know. It's week 1. Like, cut me some slack. I'll figure it out. All right, we got there. Now, unfortunately, I like to shout out the people in my pod, but this is best of 3, so everybody is just Nicol Bolas for some reason. They changed that a long time ago and never changed it back. We do start off with a pretty good rare here, though, a mythic rare, Resplendent Angel. This was a reprint from a core set, I believe. I don't actually remember. And, just 3 mana, 3/3 flyer. If you gain 5 life on any given turn, you make a 4/4 at the end of the turn. There's not really like a life gain theme. You'll see a couple cards that are like gain life, do a thing. This, I think they just wanted to put in the set because it's super freaking cool art and it's a nice reprint. It's a value card in constructed. So also sorry if there's extra noise coming through the microphone. I live in a college dorm at this point in my life. So I'm going to take Resplendent Angel. And other cards, Colossadactyl's nice. Bartolome is really strong. Ultec Cloud Guard is a nice kind of curve filler 4-drop. Petrify's decent. Iceberg, Join the Dead, all pretty good. And follow that up with, we've got Dreadbore here. Black-red for a sorcery that basically just kills something. It can kill a permanent with mana value 1 if you descended that turn, a non-creature permanent. I'm not sure how much that part matters. This is probably good enough as just red-black kill a thing. But starting off with a pretty good rare, I'm going to bias towards being able to play that, which means I don't want to pick up a 2-color card. Also, look at all the red in this pack. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, every pack in this set gets a rare, 3 uncommons, and a double-faced card. I think there's a double-faced card in every pack, so the double-faced card is missing here. The craft card, or I guess the god would be your rare. Bitter Triumph's going to be my pick, by the way. In case you were wondering what I'm actually going to pick here, I'm talking about the structure of the pack. Yeah, this is just clean removal. And removal's a little scarce in this set, I think. There's not a lot of premium removal, I should say. Bitter Triumph, just as good as Molten Collapse, kills all the same stuff, but instant speed with a little bit of a rider. And hopefully I can pass all that to the left and let people fight over red, because that pack was just all good red cards. Deep Cavern Bat is going to be my pick from this one. If you're familiar with Kite Sail Freebooter, very similar card, just instead of a 1/2 flyer, it is a 1/1 with a lifelink and flying, which makes it a good target for map tokens and exploration. Canonized in Blood. I have actually seen this card played in a lot of matches, and I would say I've faced this card about 5 times already in the format across pre-releases and drafts, and it has been good in my opponent's deck exactly once. I would caution against playing this unless you are an extremely dedicated sacrifice deck. And then Sunshot Militia, if this card does not look good to you, I assure you it is a huge overperformer. A lot of times you get your opponent down to like 5 or 6, and you just rely on that to win the game. I'm going to take this bat, though. Wow, okay. Hello? Hello? 4th pick? What is that? Why is that happening? 2 commons were taken out of this pack and 2 regular uncommons, because here's the double-faced card. So did people just not want to read this because it's 7 mana? I'm going to take it. This card is a bomb. I mean, you have to get to 7 mana. That's not trivial in every game, but this is 7 mana for 3/3 and 3 1/1s, and when this attacks, you make 3 more 1/1s, and you can increase the amount of 1/1s you're making by growing this thing. I'm not sure why that's coming to me 4th pick, but I'm happy to take it. Worth noting, I'm not tied to Resplendent Angel if white's not going to be open. Here's Tarian's Journal, which is good if you get expendable artifacts. I am going to take Tarian's Journal, though, and we'll bias towards artifacts that sacrifice for value. Are we flipping this card that often? Probably not. You have to discard your hand, so basically you want to empty your hand out first, and then you can start using this to bring back creatures with finality counters on them. There is a Waterwind Scout, which is probably Blue's best common. Just a very versatile Windrake with extra value. I wouldn't be surprised if Calamitous Cave-In is like the actual card you want to incentivize moving into the cave deck. All right. If I can leave you with any advice at all, don't hit the mother load in your deck. So it's worth noting people are misevaluating Discover a little bit. If you see a card that says Discover 3, that doesn't mean you get a 3-drop. It means you get up to a 3-drop, so you could hit your 1-drop. Discover 10 doesn't mean you get the most expensive card in your deck. It could just as easily hit a 1-drop as it could an 8-drop, you know? Very cool card in design and name. Not good for limited. I'm really high on this Tithing Blade card, by the way, which is why I took it, in case you were wondering. Ooh, okay. So Staunch Crewmate is good. Obviously not what we're doing at all. We're still sticking to black-white unless we have a reason to shift otherwise. Tinker's Toe. Tinker's Toe is a fantastic common in this set. It just does everything for every deck. It gives you 3 artifacts to tap for the red-white deck. It gains you life if you need to. It's something you can craft. It gives you expendable bodies for all of your sacrifice stuff, like, I don't know, Artarian's Journal. I do like Fanatical Offering, and your Black X sacrifice decks probably want exactly one of these. There's diminishing returns on them, but Tinker's Toe, hopefully we can showcase why I think that card's as good as it is. Here we're finally hitting a blank. Not a blank necessarily. I mean, Dreadmaul's Ire is really strong, but I don't really want to move into red after seeing that pack that we had. And I do have 2 pretty good white cards, so black-white's still looking good. Deconstruction Hammer, I have not been impressed with this card, but it's fine. And then there's Helping Hand, which is not a permanent. It is notable that it's not a permanent. It does get back some decent cards, but I am going to take the Hammer here because it is a permanent. And I think you should bias towards those. These Colossal Dactyls keep wheeling. Every draft, Colossal Dactyl wheels. And green does not look great to me in this set, but this is a premium card. For us, Glorifier of Suffering, good way to sacrifice something to get some pressure on board. I think I'm going to take that over a Hidden Cave, though I do like the Hidden Caves quite a bit. Compass Gnome is begrudgingly playable, fixing if you need it. And then Cosmium Blast is serviceable, but again, you want to bias towards permanence, so that card takes a little bit of a hit. All the red here. I think this card's a lot better than it looked. This whole tap 2 theme is real. It's a real thing going on here. That being said, I have a strong black-white start. I don't think I'm playing any red card I take here. I'll actually just take the Sunshot Militia in case something happens. Don't put this card in your deck. This is the worst card in the deck, in the entire set. Just point blank, worst card in the set. Possibly the worst card that's been printed in a limited set in, I don't know. I don't want to take too much of an estimation there, but it's bad. It's bad. Vito's Inquisitor is a sack outlet, but not a particularly good one. Calamitous Cave-In coming back. No caves. Still not really something I'm super interested in. I'll take Idol of the Deep King. There's a chance we end up dropping white here, but I guess there was so much red in these packs that we were bound to get some red back. It's not like our red's premium. Our white cards are certainly better than our red right now. In fact, Ashenil, I think it's pronounced Ohad or Ashenil. I'm not 100% sure on that. This card is basically a vanilla 4/4. It lets you actually, well, huh. All right, the interesting thing here is that both of our possible picks are red cards. This one's red-white. I do not want to be 3-color if I can avoid it. Ashenil with Sunshot Militia is really good, though, because this makes anything that deals damage to your opponent directly equal, at minimum, this thing's power. So these would tap to deal 4 per activation. Okay, there's also Capor Cody Sunborn, which is really strong. And then Tithing Blade would be the pick to go with the black cards here. All right, let's keep the option of red-black open. So now we're kind of looking at red-black versus white-black, and we're going to need something to sway us in one direction or another. Doesn't look like we're going to get that decision in this pack. Another Cave-In. The Cave deck could have come together in this draft. I think this is the exact card you need for it. Acolyte of Aquazotz is serviceable in Black X Sacrifice, but it's kind of like the secondary, tertiary sack outlet that you want. So I'm not super excited about it. I'll take Dig Site Conservator here. Just a serviceable 2-drop. Exiles cards from your opponent's graveyard, which can mess up some decks pretty bad. And then when it dies, you can discover 4 by paying a bunch of mana. We got ways to sacrifice it for value. So I think that's just going to be a good 2-drop, regardless of which color I end up with. Wow, Sanguine Evangelist coming third pick. I do get the impression, and I'm not being mean by saying this, but I get the impression that I'm at a table with people who haven't quite evaluated the cards correctly, haven't quite figured out which cards are good or not, because this card is also really good. And enough of a sway back to white. Wow, my red and white are kind of neck and neck. I guess they're not. I guess my white is still much better. I just have the Ashenil plus Sunshot Militia combo there. But Evangelist is going to push me back towards white, I think. Deconstruction Hammer. Soul Coil Viper looks like a fine pick here. You sacrifice it to reanimate a creature. That creature comes back with a finality counter, which means the next time it would die, it's exiled instead. So I wouldn't get death triggers off of like bringing back an Evangelist, but I would get the ETB again. Questionable whether that's even better than taking another Glorifier, but I don't have a lot of expendable stuff yet. I've got sack outlets. I'm not worried about the sack outlets. This card's okay. The card's just okay. I have like twist and turns too, for what it's worth, but obviously not taking that here. And we're moving into pick 5. Ooh, another Tinker's Tote. We're just going to snap up Tinker's Totes when we see them. There is a Ray of Ruin. I guess I should take a quick check on how I'm doing on removal. I think it's only Bitter Triumph. Yeah, we will need to pick up some removal at some point. This one is one of the clunkier ones. I'm just going to take a Tinker's Tote. Does everything we want the deck to do. Ultec Cloud Guard would be pretty good too. Captivating Cave is fine if you're splashing, but I prefer not to play it. Colossadactyl, he's back. I think I'm going to take my first Courtyard, or rather my first Hidden Cave over Acolyte, because I've got a lot of sack outlets already. I'm not super worried about being able to sacrifice things. I'm more worried about having things worth sacrificing, but having 1 or 2 of these caves in your deck is good. I know I was poo-pooing the cave deck, but the hidden caves are actually quite good. They basically lands that turn into a cheap spell later on, and yeah, they can hit. I mean, like, something like this is a reason to maybe not even run the Deconstruction Hammer, because you do want to hit your more expensive end of the Discover. I would rather this hit a 3-drop or 4-drop instead of a 2-drop or 1-drop. Here, Echoing Deeps enters the battlefield as a copy of a land in a graveyard. No thank you. I guess I could take the Acolyte now. This card's fine, but it's a 5-drop, and 5-drops are replaceable. And then there's a Swamp Cycler, which was kind of nice with the Soul Coil Viper and the Tarian's Journal. That might be better. That might be worth it. Ooh, okay. Ultec Cloud Guard versus Fungal Fortitude versus Deep Goblin Skull Taker. I think I would just take the Cloud Guard. Something that can attack in the air, gives me multiple bodies. I do like Fungal Fortitude. In fact, I'm usually higher on this sort of effect in most sets than most people. And having it repurposed as a permanent is nice, but my deck doesn't care about Descend at all right now. Definitely do not want a second Inquisitor. These cards compete with each other. They're not very good to start with. Same kind of clunky cards here. I don't think my deck is aggressive enough to really love this card, even though it'd be fine. I'll take my second court, though. Or I keep calling them different things. You know what they're called. Okay, we got the Acolyte anyway. I mean, what am I hoping for in pack 3? Just a couple removal spells. Wheeling the Colossadactyls. Family Reunion's pretty bad. There's no way I play anything in this pack. It is best of 3. Maybe there's a world where I go like Tectonic Hazard with Ashenil. It would be nice to do the O'Hara Ashenil plus Sunshot Militia combo, but I think my black and white deck here is looking a lot better. Getting past that Evangelist pick 3 was kind of unnecessary from the table, but they also passed me this thing, so here's the hoping 3-0 on packs where people pass me really good rares. Acrobatic Leap, I would hope, does not make my deck. In fact, it's bad enough with these, and I'm not aggressive enough to use it, that I'd rather just not even mess with it at all. Though, if I just don't get a good pack 3, I suppose I could put this in and be fine with it. All the Colossadactyls. That was a good green common there, too. All right. Oh, man. Oh. Carnosaur's so good. This is where I'm like, how good is my white? Ah, man, that's brutal. That's very brutal. Man. I'm not going to pass Carnosaur, am I? But my black and white deck's good. I could take a Depth Cap Marionette or a Skull Cap Snail, which are fine. But, man, hopefully, maybe we can find some fixin' for it. The upside of being able to play this, if that's where my deck ends up, is so much stronger than anything else I could take for this pack. There's a chance it just ends up in my board. I'm trying to pull my red cards out, but my mouse doesn't want to pull the cards out. All right. Get over there. Trumpeting Carnosaur is so strong, though. At the very worst, I'm just kind of like denying somebody else in my pod. The Carnosaur. Here's Souls of the Lost, which is interesting. This is not a bomb rare. It can just kind of end up being a big creature. It's a one-time sack outlet. Not super impressive card, but it does kind of fit what the black-white deck is doing here. Or am I a black-red deck? I could very well just be a black-red deck. Either way, I think I will take the Souls of the Lost. This ends up being a huge creature late game. Excuse me. The Sunwing or whatever that thing's called is fine. Queen's Bay Paladin, you say? So this is like the only vampire payoff in the entire set. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, you basically reanimate a vampire with a finality counter on it. You lose life equal to its mana value. I mean, I have a couple vampires. I wonder if that can't be better than just taking like a Dusk Rose Reliquary, right? This is an absolutely fantastic premium removal spell. But if I end up not playing white, then I don't want to use a pick on Reliquary. I will. Okay, I'm going to stick to black-white. I'm going to stick to my guns. Oh, my God. Am I going to stick to my guns? This card's also fantastic. I just took a white card, though. Taking the white card is saying to myself, you're playing white. Otherwise, why would you take it, right? So I guess I'm going to take a Brood Rage Mycoid here over the Appraiser, which is a significantly worse card, but does what this deck wants to do. To be fair, okay, so first off, this card's not very good on its own. It's only good because I have these militias. The Carnosaur is very strong, though. Just passing this insane red-black deck. Man, Zoiwa now, too. And there's not really anything pulling me into white here. The table really baited me with this Resplendent, or the Sanguine Evangelist. Yeah, I'll take Zoiwa. Very strong card. You can read that one real quick. Basically, as long as you can keep descending, you just eat through your opponent's resources. They get a say in what resources those are, but bunch of mediocre stuff. Could take a Hidden Volcano. I'm gonna have to make a decision here. Deconstruction Hammer is not really part of that decision. I guess I'll take a black card. The Freebooter is fine. Just does a lot of different things if you're able to sacrifice it to something. And Echo of Dusk is like okay, but not super exciting. Defossilize versus the red-white guy. This is not... No, this isn't even the wheel. I just don't have any way to fix, really. So playing 3 colors I don't think is on the table at all. No, there's no fixing in this pile. There's a Swamp Cycler, but that's not even the fixing I would want. I wonder if I take Defossilize here. I wonder if there's a way to get, like, this in my graveyard for Defossilize. Ooh, another Tithe Blade is nice. It's also a Miner's Guidewing, but I do like Tithe Blade more than maybe I should, but I think it's pretty strong. Soul Coil came back, as did Deathcap Marionette. And I do like the Marionette. The second Soul Coil Viper, probably a little bit worse, since it can't get back the same creature that the first one did. But Marionette's okay. Veto's back. Rumbling Rock Slide here as well. Ooh, okay, Skullcap Snail. I'm not a big fan of this. I haven't seen it in action yet. I imagine I'll lose to it out of some decks, but Skullcap Snail is very good. Plain Cycler. Maybe. All right, not playing that. Oh, man. Really rocked the boat on this one, huh? This is double red to cast as well. See if I have discard outlets, because if I have discard outlets and I can get this in my graveyard, I have Viper plus Defossilize to bring it back, and it is worth reanimating. That's a little bit janky. I have Zoyawa here too, which is a pull into red. Primordial Gnawer is not the worst card in the world. I've seen that card be decent. It's a shame that it dies to like all of the red removal and dead weight, but it does replace itself, which is annoying for the opponent. All right. Yeah, thanks for lumping everything back together there. So I guess I have to make the decision of whether I'm playing white or red, and I don't think I'm playing both. I think that's a little bit too ambitious. Tote. Alright, and I'm trying to make sure everything's visible on screen here. And it's not letting me. It doesn't want me to show everything at once. Okay. So, we have a decision to make. I could go red-black. Either one looks good. White-black or red-black look good. My question is, which one's better? So, the appeal for red-black, I think, is mostly Carnosaur, a couple removal spells, and some reach with Militia, plus the potential to combo O'Hare plus Sunshot Militia. For white, my appeal is good removal spell, just solid mid-range creature, kind of a pseudo-bomby resplendent angel here. Yeah, I also forgot this can just pump itself so it can fulfill its own condition, but that is triple white. And then the Tinker's Totes are good. The Tinker's Totes are quite good, and the rest is kind of in the middle. I do not have the means to splash. I've got a treasure token sitting around here, and that's probably about it. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have anything else floating around that just makes spare treasure or anything like that. I have a Swamp Cycler, which helps a little bit. And I have a Plain Cycler, which is fine. Let's just look at these real quick. I'm going to go ahead and move the lands around so I've got more space to work with here. Usually not this hard of a decision during deck building, but I think this is tough. So obviously you're going to have to tell me in the comments which version you would run here, if you would go black-white or if you would go red-white. But if I run... Let's get that. My mouse is really making this more difficult than it needs to be. Alright, so that's going to go in the 2-drop slot. Carnosaur, O'Hare, Rumbling Rock Slide, cheap removal spell, and then some 2-drops. So this would be the red-black deck from Freebooter up to Thunderhulk, and I could consider the option of going Soaring Sandwing plus like Sanguine Evangelist, which seems a little rough. Alternatively, yeah, I just don't think I splash at all. Man, this is tough. I like the idea of red-black here. Defossilize should be good too, I think. I can discard this, bring it back with Soul Coil Viper or Defossilize, and Defossilize is actually pretty good on the Threefold Thunderhulk as well. I think I'm going to go black-red. I'm giving up a good removal spell, but I'm picking up 2 decent removal spells. I'm giving up a good bomb in the Resplendent Angel, but I'm picking up a good bomb and then an actual pretty good combo here. And then I'm also giving up the Tinker's Totes, which is one of the biggest losses, because that provides a lot of my fodder. So I'm not 100% sure. I am giving up something either way. The main draw is that I'm recording, and being able to do the militia plus Ashenil thing is pretty strong. So I'm not going to act like that's not swaying me in some way, shape, or form. I just had to open a Carnosaur, didn't I? Just had to be like an actual bomb. Yeah. And this is a functional 3-drop as well. Did I get a... I did not. I was going to say, if I got one of the another chance cards that lets you pick up a 2 creatures from your graveyard, that would be pretty good with the Trumpeting Carnosaur. Let's go up to 16, 17. That's 17 lands. This is 42 cards. I'd still have to cut 2. So just looking through real quick, anything stand out is just not quite there. I think my card quality is actually just very high. Acolyte's a little bit worse without the totes. And Vito's Inquisitor for the same reason. Without those totes, I'm less interested in all of the sacrifice. I could cut this Gnawer too. And keep in like Acolyte for a little bit of extra reach. It's kind of a non-bow with the Sunshot Militias. Inquisitor's gone for sure. I'm not sure about Defossilize. It does have a couple combos, but I'm not sure it's actually that good. It doesn't even work with this because it doesn't die. I think I'll just cut Gnawer. This card's a little clunky. Okay. This is going to be the deck. If you think I should be playing black-white instead, sound off. But I could see it going either way. I have good cards in both colors. Maybe red-white? Okay, that was a very tough draft / build. I thought it was easy going after pack 1 into pack 2 there, but the red just was flowing, which I didn't think was going to happen given pack 2, but I guess I didn't see any braids or anything. Anyway, enough stumbling around words. Let's go ahead and get to it. Jumping into some best of 3 matches with appropriate red-black deck featuring Resplendent Angel. See you all in match number 1. All right, as promised, match number 1, we're against Uri's 53. I have to assume born in 1953. This is the expensive end of my hand. If I draw some 2s and stuff, I'll be pretty happy. Hopefully they don't play something tokeny so Tithing Blade can take out their first creature. Tarian's Journal can just sacrifice Tithing Blade if need be to draw another card. Tithing Blade's nice to flip if you get to that point in the game. Uh-oh, is opponent gonna aggro me out here? They play like a Tomb Raider or whatever it's called. Yeah, I don't mind drawing lands here. I am going to need to draw something to pave the way, though I can just pitch this for 3 mana. Looks as good of a turn as any to get down the Journal and pass. Red-green. Red-green no plays is nice. Rumbling Rock Slide's not the worst either. Does mean I don't have a play, though I could just pitch this to kill something. I'm only a mountain away from actually playing it, though, at some point. I guess I need to draw 2 lands. Alright, let's pass. Opponent has something they could run out at sorcery speed. I'm wondering if it's like an equipment or something, because they keep getting priority. I'm not sure what it is. Ooh, there's more to the story, though. Teamer, you say? What do we got? What do we got? We have an Idol of the Deep King that's going to deal 2 damage to me. Okay. I can't say I'm too disappointed about that. Okay, that would have been nice last turn, but good enough to just run this thing out and pass the turn. Not the best sack out in the world. Much worse in my deck now that I cut the white, which I think I said during deck building, but I'm wondering if I should just be playing the Gnawer instead, which would be noticeably worse here. Opponent running out Idol of the Deep King leads me to believe that we're either playing against a novice player, which is okay, that's not an insult, or they just need an artifact on board for something. Ancestral Reminiscence. Draw 3, discard a card. Okay, opponent's got cards for sure. I haven't played really anything to the board yet, though. But that does kind of make up for the fact that they kind of just threw this away. So annoying for me, of course. They discarded Tectonic Hazard. Yeah, okay. It's awkward. I still don't have a play here, and I need to draw a mountain before I can cast this. So if I draw a swamp, it's a no-go. Opponent with a full grip of 8 cards. 19 life on turn 5. Sure. Very sweet card. Debating putting this card in our cube, but we decided to keep Inferno Titan where it's at. Alright, we've got a Volatile Wanderglyph, which rummages when it discards. Are they going to sack it to the idol here? Okay. Sure. Look, if they do that, I'm thrilled. But it's... I mean, my opponent... No offense. I really don't mean to... I'm not saying this to be insulting, but it seems like our opponent doesn't really know what's going on here. Like, they just threw away a creature to turn this into an equipment that doesn't do anything. That being said, I did draw my mountain, and I will trumpet. I guess I should have done that first. Is there something that I could have hit that influences combat? Okay, bat. Let's take a look. Let's see what's going on over there. Oh, a bunch of combat tricks and a 3/3. Well, I'm going to take this hazard because it just kills my bat. And you can have all the other stuff. Journal not looking at its best here. I mean, they have 1 creature, and I have a Tithing Blade, plus a Rumbling Rock Slide. This is the type of thing you just die to, right? They play a creature, and they just have infinite combat tricks. Looks like they're going to run out of combat trick here, too, perhaps. Or just equip. Make that a 5/3. I could craft. If I draw a land, I could play Tithing Blade plus craft with the journal, since the journal's not doing much. But I think we're pretty close to killing here. Unless they drew something really good off the top, we know that 3 of their cards are about to just not do anything. So I play this, I played Mycoid, I sacrifice the Tithing Blade to the journal, which descends, so I'll make a 1/1 on it instead. Just get to jam for 9, and then next turn Rock Slide for 9 again. So I'm assuming this game is over next turn, but we'll see. Got him. So sorcery only. And jam. Look, I can like, some people, one thing I really hate is that some people will play against an opponent like this. I watch these videos and they'll be like, why did my opponent do this? So that didn't make any sense. Why would they do that? And it's like, clearly you're playing against a new person, right? Everybody has to start somewhere. You have to do stuff like this to realize, oh, that didn't do anything. Maybe I won't do it again next time. You know, you can't be mad at people for being new at the game. Ooh, there's Ashenil. All right, let's go and wrap this one up and go to game 2. This is best of 3. Do got to watch out for 1,000,000 combat tricks, though. So, so blocking is off the table, huh? That being said, a 1/4 probably good enough. Tectonic. Yeah, we only saw 2 creatures, a 2/2 and a 3/3, so can't make too many decisions there. I bet there's situations where it's right to board into white over red, but this is casual arena. I'm not gonna put too much stock into transformational sideboards. I could see cutting the journal here because my opponent's just playing a bunch of aggressive creatures and just going up like another creature. That seems fine, but I think my removal matches up well enough against what I saw from my opponent. Double Tithing Blade tends to be good. And if my opponent's just gonna, sack their creatures to craft, then I don't think we need to overthinking it too much. All right, short pause there during sideboard, and we are back for game number 2 against Your Eyes. And we have, we have a turn 2 and a turn 4 play. We just need to draw the turn 3 play in between, and we'll be happy. Rock Slide should take out a creature if I'm not already dead. Actually, that's really good too. Just a Death Toucher to trade off with a dude. Opponent played Captivating Cave, but no creature on turn 1 is nice. And if they play a Hotfoot Gnome, doesn't really matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter too much which one of these I play. Guess my opponent did show me a Tectonic, whatever it's called. But if they want to use removal on my Marionette, so be it. Alright, we milled over Carnosaur, which is tedious, but remember we do have Soul Coil Viper in our deck. We also have Defossilize, so it being in the graveyard might not actually be that bad. A Braid on Marionette. Got it? Guess I'm glad that's hitting the 1/1 and not the 1/3. Oh, Hotfoot Gnome. They did actually have the Hotfoot Gnome. That's funny. So it's a 3/1 haste. 3/1 haste that can tap to give another creature haste. And I'll block here. If they have a combat trick, so be it. They did show us a +2/+0 first strike, make a treasure, but I don't think I have the luxury of not playing into combat tricks here. I mean, I could not block Rock Slide this and hope they don't have another creature. Oh, they're going to pre-combat use the, no. Yeah, am I going to play into the combat trick here? Get them to use it. It's unfortunate, especially if they play another creature. It's not going to go well. It also just gives them a treasure, right? So if they play another creature here, it's not looking great for us. I mean, I get to kill one, obviously, but... What's it gonna be? An Armored Kincaller. And no dino in hand. Okay, the idol is pretty good. I am gonna go ahead and use the more expensive kill spell this turn. The idol can take out the Hotfoot Gnome next turn. They didn't have a dinosaur in hand, we know that much. Gonna take at least another 3 here. If they play a big creature, they can haste that up instead. Okay, again, I like these idols hitting me. I would happily take 2 to make my opponent discard a removal spell. Go to 12. Ooh, there's the Soul Coil Viper. Alright. I'm gonna go for the Viper here. And they can exile... Well, they don't actually have... Ooh, you know what? I don't know if my opponent sees it or not, but they could use Captivating Cave on Hotfoot Gnome. This is the Explore thing? Okay. Oh, opponent, don't do that. No, opponent, don't do it. Don't craft with your gnome. No, they're gonna do it. That would be so bad if they did. They would just have a 4/3 instead of 2 creatures. Okay, they didn't do it. They didn't do it. Thank you, opponent. They could have made this a 5/3, and then I wouldn't be able to kill it with my idol, is what I was saying. But we do get to 1 mana bring back a Carnosaur here, which is nice. Let's go ahead and do that first. It has a finality counter on it, so it will exile itself if it dies. Discover 5. Hit something good. We hit Tarian's Journal. Not the best thing in the world. Serviceable, though. So now we want to go Sunshot Militia. And I think main phase this. No, because if they go for Captivating Cave on Gnome or Idol on Gnome. So I'm just going to go ahead and tap these 2. Might actually be able to flip this next turn as well. Alright, pass. I think opponent's trying to maybe craft at instant speed or something like that, but this is a sorcery only. You cannot craft at instant speed. So my opponent really has no play here. They're just trying to figure it out, which is fine. I know people complain a lot about best of 3 being slower, but look, people need to learn. People need to learn. Don't kill my Carnosaur, please. I left that back to block. Brackish Blunder. Ooh, that resets the... that actually resets the finality counter, which is sweet because I have this thing going. All right, let's go ahead and let him send in here, and I will go ahead and idle down the Hotfoot Gnome. Take 2 down to 10, and then I think I'm just firmly in control of this game because I get to recast this. Tithing Blade. Nah, we go Carnosaur. Discover again. Oh, defossilize. We hit, I guess, just the 4-drop. And that explores twice. Yeah, that seems good enough. That seems good enough. Attack. Activate, tap in these 2. And I don't want to die to something random that I'm not even thinking of, so we'll leave back a blocker. Normally these cards aren't very good, but I feel like there's a lot in this set that makes this one a little bit better. First off, this thing just came back as a 6/5 instead of a 4/3, so using it on a cheaper creature isn't necessarily the worst. Second off, a lot of ways to get creatures into your graveyard just naturally. Hotfoot Gnome's back. Alright, so opponent could craft there using the Hotfoot Gnome in their graveyard. This is going to be pretty straightforward. We're going to go ahead and Tithe and Blade them. They're going to sack a creature. I'm going to play Souls of the Lost, sacrificing a land. And then I'm going to flip Tarian's Journal, discard in my hand since it's empty. And then turning this into a cave. The Tomb of Aclazotz. Word of advice, if you're very new, if you're in my opponent's position, for instance, when you craft, it's ideally you want to craft using cards from your graveyard. You don't want to give up your board presence to craft. You want to get the artifacts into your graveyard so that you can craft using just basically dead cards. But you also have to watch out if you have descend cards, because you might actually eat up cards from your graveyard. So there's a little bit of push and pull there. But as a general rule of thumb, you should craft using your graveyard. We'll go ahead and flip this. Go ahead and deal extra point of damage to my opponent here. Attack with these 2. No real point attacking with the 1/3. And I'll get in an extra point of damage here. If my opponent can deal 8 damage off of their top deck, then so be it. So what is this thing? It's equal to the number of... Oh, Fathomless Descent. Okay. Fathomless Descent is basically descend X. It counts the number of permanents in your graveyard rather than a set number. Scytheclaw Raptor is a nice one. PSA to anybody watching this card affects both players. So if you are the one who owns the Scytheclaw Raptor and you cast a spell during your opponent's turn, you will in fact take 4 damage. So be wary of that. GG, your eyes, 53 if you're watching. I hope there were some valuable lessons in this game. You've got good cards. You have got good cards. But I think you did give away a little bit too much in that first game. Hopefully you're not roping me. Like I'm just like trying to be as nice as possible, and they're like, man, whatever. No, they're not roping me. All right, they figured it out. Thanks for the game. That deck played pretty well from us, though. Our opponent didn't really give us the toughest challenge there, I would say. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay. Hey, we got to reanimate the Carnosaur, which is what we were talking about in the first place. All right, decisive game 1 victory. Let's go ahead and go on to match number 2. I'll see you there. We're back. Match number 2 against Hahari. Opponent Moles, I will keep. I have a way to interact with their 2-drop, and if I need to, a way to interact with their 3-drop. Journal not looking super good in this deck. Again, we pushed really heavily down a sacrifice theme deck, and then we transitioned in our final build to a deck that doesn't really have a lot of sacrifice fodder. You know, a Mephitic Draft or something like that would have come in really handy, but that's not how our deck actually looks. That being said, the back half of the journal is not nothing. Captivating Cave as your first play. Usually want to hold off on the colorless lands until after you've played the lands of appropriate colors. Ooh, we're caving here. Opponent's caving, and I have a good play against an opponent who mulliganed. Most of the cave payoffs count the caves in your graveyard as well, so you can freely sacrifice a Promise in Vain with not much to worry about. I wonder if they're actually doing a cave thing, or if this is just how their hand is shaped up. Skullcap Snail, by the way. Love it. Card's great. We've been playing with this card in sets for like the last 5 years now, and it's always good, and this one exiles. They pitched a mountain from their hand. Smart decision on their behalf, too, that it exiles, so that you're not feeling your opponents descend. So it is a strict upgrade over other cards. Deadweight my snail. I'll take it. Oh, another cave. Okay, yeah, they've got to have some sort of cave payoff. That being said, I don't have very much going on here, so I'll just go ahead and get this journal down and pass. Still looking for an opportunity to Tithing Blade something. Now, they exiled Mountain, and then they fetched Mountain with Promise in Vain, which leads me to believe that maybe they're not playing that many colors, or their hand's really good. Red, black so far, though they could have any colors, honestly. All right, run out of 4-3. See if it gets abraded or something like that. And that's fine. I'm hoping they just play creature next turn so I can go Blade and then turn after Carney it. Oh, Mycoid is dying to a Rumble and Rock Slide. Fine by me. No, they didn't give me anything for my Tithing Blade, unfortunately. They must be sitting on just a bunch of interaction or 5 mana spells, I guess. They're not playing anything to the board here. Oh man, I just realized I passed the 3/2 Discover 4 mana creature in red, and that could have totally made my deck. Do I want to go for the Blade here, or do I want to just play my 6-drop? I imagine I just want to play my 6-drop. All right, let's do it. Discover into a removal spell. Ooh, Zoyowa. Okay, I don't get to descend here. I haven't put anything in the graveyard yet. The journal can't sack itself. That's fine. See if Carnosaur bites the dust here at all. This actually lives through the -5/-5 removal spell. It lives through a Rumble and Rock Slide right now. Child of the Volcano. I'm not impressed by this card, but there are some curved outs where this is obviously going to be good. You do need to be able to descend every turn, though. All right. Opponent is not immediately killing my 7/6. That's a good sign for me. Corpses of the Lost. So this card's good. Let's go ahead and reread it. So skeletons you control get +1/+1, have haste. When it enters the battlefield, you make a 2/2 skeleton pirate, so that's basically a 3/2 with haste. At the beginning of your end step, if you descended, you may pay a life to return this to your hand. That is pretty strong. And then they killed my Zoyowa. A little rude. A little bit rude. That being said, let's go ahead and hit him with the Tithing Blade. Might just flip Tithing Blade this turn. Get an extra source of damage going, a little bit of life gain. I could also sack it to the journal, though. All right, you sack the 3/2, right? It's just a worse version of the 3/3. Go ahead and slam for 7. I imagine if they had a kill spell for my 7/6, they would have used it last turn, so I think getting the extra damage off the Tithing Blade is probably worthwhile. Better than drawing a card? Not sure. I won't be able to discover off that. Oh, I'm going for this anyway. Let's go ahead and eat, I guess, just the skull cap snail here. If I draw a reanimation spell, I'd rather reanimate the other ones. And then now this is Consuming Sepulcher, which will drain my opponent for 1 life on each of my upkeeps. Just add another persistent layer of damage. Played with this type of card a lot. If you remember Ill-Gotten Inheritance, that one was the busted one from Ravnica Legions, but it also had like a fireball mode attached to it. And then there was a Dogged Pursuit from Kaldheim, which was absolutely terrible. Ooh, okay. That is really good for them. They are going to be able to pick up this Corpses of the Lost if they want. Okay, their deck is good. Their deck is good. They did take the 1. Sunshot Militia. Should be pretty good. Do I want to get in 6 damage here? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Because I've got just so many extra sources of damage sitting on the board here. Discard. So that taps. That would be tapped. That's fine. I mean, be a little bit cutesy. Put my opponent down to 3, down to 2, and then these kill, so I don't even have to worry about the other thing. Okay, yeah. We'll just tap like this. Now you have to kill my Militia or my Sepulcher. I'm not in fear of dying. Opponent's deck does look strong, though. Just, this is a pile of good cards. Yeah, they even have the caves for Cavernous Maw. So they're not really a cave deck, but this is what I was talking about, where you can have a contextual cave component to your deck, and it looks like my opponent put that together quite well in the shell of just a red-black deck. Not trying to do 3-color, 4-color caves or anything like that. At least not that I've seen. This card seems strong. Yeah. Is it a bomb? Probably. Okay, cool. Got there. I'm going to be on the draw this time. 5-2. It's not terrible. It's actually still probably pretty bad because they've shown us 2 ways right here to just kill it for 1 mana. And yeah, it replaces itself, but 5 mana to trade for your opponent's 1 mana, that's rough. I think I kind of like just where we're at. How does the 2 damage thing line up? Decent enough, I suppose. Graveyard Hate seems good against them. Alright. We'll run it back as is. Alright, we're back for game 2. Well, I don't hate this. If I draw a red source, I can cycle this, whatever you want to call it, and then bring it back on turn 4 with the Viper. If I don't draw a red source, it's all kind of dorky. Cavernous Maw. Oh, this counts itself as one of the 3. We were questioning that at pre-release. There's that red source, and here's a Dig Site Conservator. Yeah, so turn 3, Soul Coil Viper, turn 4, cycle, kill whatever you play this turn, bring back Carnosaur. Or don't do that. Get in for 2. Still going to play this. Still going to have that option for next turn. End the turn. So this can sacrifice at instant speed to exile something. So if they go for like reanimation or something, I can just exile in response. Can't use it in response to craft. All right, now that my opponent has not done anything, I'm wondering how much I play into the board because they have 3 caves and they could easily have Cavernous Maw. Oh no, this doesn't count for itself. It was counting the Hidden Necropolis. Yeah, they could have the Calamitous Cave-In. So I'm not sure I want to play into that too much. I want to play something that survives. Guess I could just play Snail. We're not too worried if we lose that one. Exile a card from your hand, please. Calamitous Cave-In deals damage equal to the number of caves you control plus in your graveyard. So right now it would sweep the board. And they might just not be playing creatures out because they have a sweeper. It's kind of what it feels like to me. Ooh, Gargantuan Leech. Yeah, that's a good cave payoff. We are going to kill it, though. Pay 3 life. That does not rule out what we were talking about. I'm playing out the 1/4 here because right now they would need to present another cave for this to also die. 2 Calamitous Cave-In. But if they go for like a reanimation spell, I've got it covered with Dig Site Conservator. They could go untapped land plus discover. That was not a cave. Okay, looks like we're hovering over this necropolis. All right, let's see what this hits. It hits Join the Dead. So you may kill probably just Soul Coil Viper here. Yeah. Okay, they've got something. Oh, did I not get an opportunity to... Oh, activate as a sorcery, sure. Okay. Let's jam. Perfect. All right, now opponent's going to need something really good. Reanimation on the 5/5. Sure. All right, I would say that worked out in our favor. I would like to see my opponent's hand there and see if they were, like, packing the cave in or what the plan was there. Because they had a lot of cards in hand for them to play out the way they did. Maybe that's just the best they had going on, but I'll take it. 2-0. Let's see if we can get the clean sweep trophy. Match number 3 coming up. And round 3 is up against Berserk CI. Berserksy, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't watch Berserk. I don't know if that's a reference to anything. Play first, though, and clunky hand that doesn't actually do anything. The journal has no targets, but could draw fairly well here. Defossilize also looks pretty bad. This is not an ideal hand. Not by a long shot. But we're going to run out journal. Ooh, blue deck. Okay, that's much better to play. Ooh, hey, combo. Combo. Again, I think this card is a premium red common. Maybe premium's a little bit of an exaggeration. All right, blue up. There is a counter spell that can counter a creature for blue. Or alternatively, you can pay 4 mana to counter anything. I'm not going to run a creature into it here because I don't have one. Hey, we might get to do the thing. If they just tap out this turn, we get to go O'Hare and then shoot them for 4. All right, yeah, this counter spells for days. I don't really even need to attack. I could just do this instead. Just not run into some flash threat that I'm not accustomed to. I'm not going to expose O'Hare to this counter spell. Or Ashenil. It's my understanding O'Hare is it's like a term of endearment or something like that. Alright, opponent's still unwilling to play ball here. It's also like extremely like obvious they have the counter spell. All right, so yeah. All right, let's go for the bat. Either they let it resolve or they don't. If they don't, that's okay. And if they do let it resolve, we get to at least see what's up. All right. They kill it in response. We've got Hurl into History. Malicious Eclipse, huh? All right, so Hurl is just not something we want to play into. They did not have the counterspell. They bluffed me, and they got me pretty good. Malicious Eclipse is going to be able to eat the Deep Cavern Bat. I mean, yeah, I guess if I just take the Eclipse, then the bat gets to live for now. And honestly, I mean, giving them a bunch of map tokens is not ideal. But I could run this into the map token thing. And nothing to punish me. All right. They did not want to use Hurl into History on O'Hare Ashanil. That's okay. I'll continue to just not do anything if my opponent also wants to not do anything. All right, they put something on board, which means I get to untap and deal 8 to them. Yeah. Let's go ahead and kill that, which is going to give them a permanent in their graveyard. I guess I didn't even have to kill that, huh? Kabam, take 4. We're taking a screenshot. We're screenshotting. Combo assembled. All right, now what do we got? So they're going to have to Ray of Ruin Ashanil. Comes back as a land. Oh, it exiles. Gross. Into Greedy Freebooter. Okay. Another Sunshot's not the worst. I guess I go for the Necropolis here. Got 2 guaranteed damage. I could deal 3 to them guaranteed, right? They get back that. They saw my 7-drop. Hurl into History is worth knowing about. Okay, so now we go jam for 1. Don't give him an opportunity to use the treasure. Put you down to 3. Opponent bluffed me pretty good off the blue-blue. I think the game would have been over had they just played like blue-black. I would have jammed out Ashanil. But yeah, credit to the opponent there. I think they correctly identified that there's a blue-blue counterspell and got me to play around it. Or they just ran out 2 islands and I played around it myself. But if your opponent goes island in this set, you've got to kind of wonder if you're going to get got by that. Opponent attacked with Freebooter. This looks like a good control deck from the opponent. They didn't play any cheap spells, though. And they do have 8 mana. Go Chupacabra, kill Bat, cast the Malicious Affliction. Not sure. All right, yeah, that's going to kill the Bat. That gives them the, what is this, Malicious Eclipse back. -2/-2 to all creatures, and it exiles my creatures. That would just kill their board too, though. They don't have mana for Hurl. Doesn't mean they don't have a counterspell. I also just don't have to play into that, though, right? Just gonna go tap, tap. Deal 1. Tap, tap. And I'm gonna make them have a answer for this Tithing Blade by the end of my turn. Go ahead and eat the bat from my graveyard. That is not a cast, so you can't counter that anyway. So now they're facing down Lethal Sunshot Militia and Lethal Consuming Sepulcher. 3 cards in hand. Okay, opponent's deck does look good here, though. We got game 1. We erroneously played against the wrong counterspell. This doesn't look like the type of thing where I want to bring in Gnawer. They have -2/-2 in Exile. Seems pretty bad, though. A 2/3? It's not bad. 2/3 is not the worst thing in the world. Anything look really bad? Defossilize could be kind of weak in this matchup. The journal's still looking kind of dorky. Yeah, the -2/-2 effect is brutal. That is going to suck. It does make me want to kind of bring in another 3 toughness creature, though. It is 1 card in their deck. Got a lot of stuff that lives through it. Thinking about taking out this journal. Though this card does want me to have artifacts on board. Maybe I just don't need that. Alright. Let's run it back as is. Feel like I keep saying that, but we got to dodge our fastest starts into Malicious Eclipse. We got to watch out for Hurl into History, which is probably better for them on the play. Souls of the Lost is an awkward card to have in your open in hand. It's something you want to draw later in the game, because you don't really want to pitch anything to it. Skullcap Snail is good against this opponent, though. Alright, opponent did not bluff the blue-blue. Force my opponent to take a mulligan here, please. Yeah, like, it doesn't even make sense to run this out, knowing that they have the mini sweeper, the Infest. They exiled Primordial Gnawer from their hand. Ooh, and they don't have a land. So maybe it does make sense to run this out, but yeah, they untap, draw swamp, sweep. That's just terrible. I think I'll hold tight on Bitter Triumph, and then next turn I can play Mycoid if nothing changes. Deadweight Snail. If that's what you gotta do. 4/3 coming down. Alright, we got black. And let's see. Confounding Riddle is another counterspell to maybe take note of here. Let's see what this hits. Okay, we did descend, and this is big enough that I can run it out as well. I'll discard a mountain from my hand. And now we got big board that doesn't really die to the -3/-3. Promising Vein. Scamper Surveyor's nice. This is going to go get them a cave or a basic, probably a cave. Kill it, attack for 10's got to be good enough, right? And I can discard another card to make that 11. Because I don't need these cards in my hand. Yeah, we'll just press the advantage here. That descends as well. Keep the land in my hand, I suppose. Alright, got 2 lethal threats. Opponent's on 6 mana. Don't Terror Tide me. Terror Tide would only deal 2. Didact Echo is not going to get this done. And Jammerino. Very nice. Slow start from the opponent and good start from us. Was it even a good start from us? It was fine. I think my opponent just missed a land drop there, right? Very nice. My opponent's deck did look kind of clunky there. Strong, like strong individual cards, but a lot of 5 drops that we saw in that first game. Well, I mean, we take our we take our 3-0. Was it 3-0-6-0? It might have been 3-0-6-0. All right, let's see what we got. Whoa, Bramble Familiar. All right, let's talk about the deck real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Nice and easy. Don't expect a lot of drafts to go this way, but man, that was a tough deck building. Oh, I had this guy in my deck. Where were you? Where were you the whole time? I mean, we drew our Carnosaur. Come on. We got to do the combo. We got to do everything we wanted to do except cast this card and show you why you shouldn't be picking it fourth pick. I'm still curious. I'm not going to pull all the cards out here, but I am curious where people would have landed on black-white versus red-white here. And obviously red-white played out well. The Sunshot Militia is really good at getting those last couple points of damage in, because you go aggressive creature, your opponent trades off whatever, they stabilize, they're sitting at like 6 life, and then your militia just uses all these treasure tokens, all these little artifacts itself, and you just get to persistent, ping for persistent points of damage. Can't say I was impressed with Defossilize, but it only really came up once, and it was an option even in the games where it wasn't great. The Journal was not excellent in this deck. This deck needed the white portion of the deck to make the Journal good, sacrificing the totes and stuff like that, or we needed to pick up Mephitic drafts. Didn't even draw this card in any relevant capacity. Trumpeting Carnosaur, a bomb. Interesting that we just opened nothing but bombs here, but yeah, I think my appeal for white was basically these cards, and it's a little funny to put the Tinker's Tote in the same pile as like Resplendent Angel and Sanguine Evangelist, which are obvious cards, but I think if you're letting this card go, you're not even like looking at it, you should reconsider. I wouldn't be surprised if a week, 2 weeks from now, 17 Lands says this is like the best white common or something like that, because it just goes in every deck. You can see how it would have played in this deck by giving us just a bunch of sacrifice fodder for like our Journal and our Acolyte and stuff like that. But even in blue-white, it's an artifact, right? And you have all the craft cards. In red-white, you have all these things that care about tapping multiple things down for extra counters and extra damage. In green-white, okay, green-white's not really a deck, so maybe not that one. But yeah, super weird to have that much power across 2 different colors. I mean, I wonder if we were even supposed to be red-white, but the black played out really well. Anyway, you saw what happened. I can go over it forever. Some cards didn't get to shine here, but we got to do all the cool stuff that we needed to do. And yeah, good showcase of some of the stuff going on in this format. Our first round opponent, maybe not the best competition there, but they're still learning. They're still figuring things out. And then, yeah, decent stuff from the other 2 opponents, even though my last round opponent did get mana screwed. And we capitalized on that quite well. If anything, takeaway, Sunshot Militia, really good in this format. I think black is really deep and really powerful as well. There's not really even a black common that comes to mind that's just not good. Like, look at this card. This is a common. Look at this card. It's common. Anyway, that's going to go ahead and do it. Thanks for hanging out. As always, remember, we, JankDiverTim, are a cube-related community. I know we haven't posted cube content in a while, but we are a cube community, and we cube twice a week. Sundays with our more powerful cube at 7:30 Eastern, Wednesdays with our peasant cube, and some of our specialty cubes and user cubes at 7:30 Eastern as well. Come join us. There are links down below to the server. And if nothing else, come join the trophy board. We have a ongoing trophy board for every limited set where you can share your trophy decks and hopefully just compete for some titles and some notoriety. That's going to go ahead and do it. Sweet 3-0 under our belt early on in the format. Hopefully I can get some more videos out at a more regular clip. But thanks for watching. My name's Timothy with JankDiverTim. Catch you all next time.